Greeno. Here. Mr. Bates. Here. Mr. Stein. And Ms. Lamarcus.
Here.
Next item on the agenda is to approve the agenda and addendum items.
Second.
Call the vote. Ms. Lamarcus. Mr. Bates. Mr. Greeno. And Mr. Brown. Next item on the agenda is to approve or amend the meeting minutes from September 15, 2025.
Make a motion.
Any questions or comments on the meeting minutes? Now call the vote. Mr. Bates.
Yes.
Mr. Greeno.
Yes.
Mr. Rao.
Yes.
And Ms. Lamarcus.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is the presentation of the financial statement month ending September 30th, 2025. Dawn, running through some fund balances.
Yes. For the month of September, the general fund had a beginning balance of $5,907,702 and an ending balance of $5,423,613. The land improvement fund had a beginning balance of $3,452,933 and an ending balance of $3,264,498. All funds combined had an ending balance of $8,688,110.
Dawn,
You're welcome.
any questions for the commissioners on the monthly financial statements? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the presentation of the payment report. Vouchers for the month of September 2025. Second, approve those payments. Any questions on the vouchers for the month of September? All right. Yep, go ahead.
Not really a question about the asphalt roller. That's to be ramped up. Do we have any that we own, small asphalt roller?
We have a larger one that we used on trail work. We were doing, and it's kind of a larger one. They were doing some smaller trails all that very time, so they were using this to compact like a 6-foot wide trail, so that's why they got the small one.
Any other questions on vouchers? Okay. None, go on, okay, move on to old business and planning update. 2025 projects, construction projects.
So in front of you in the packet, it's kind of just a summary of the current capital improvement projects for this year. Most of the projects are completed. We're still working down at Beartown Lakes, which I anticipate they're going to be working on kind of through the end of the month. And then we have part of our construction crew working over at Tupelo Pond. So those are the last two projects we're finishing up here. Weather's been pretty good so far the last couple of weeks. We'll see hopefully if we get, a decent November, we can get everything wrapped up by the end of the month.
Thank you, Matt. Questions? Now we'll move on to new business. Resolution 18, 2025, 2025 revised budget. Commissioners, please find the resolution for adoption of the revised 2025 revenue appropriations. The following format conforms with the legal level of budgetary control according to Ohio Revised Code 5705.23. The required appropriation measures shall be classified so as to set forth separately the amounts appropriated for each office, department, and division, and within each the amount appropriated for personnel services. Therefore, the budget format conforms with state statute in that the appropriation resolution is presented as follows. A fund by department, personnel services, salaries and benefits, and all other non-personnel services expenditures. This resolution reflects amended appropriation amounts for personnel and non-personnel services in the general fund. Some money into the naturals department and out of the IT department and into the grounds and facilities department. Anything else, Tom? Anything else to add?
No?
All right, thank you. That, let's say a motion to approve resolution 18, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Not call vote. Mr. Carino?
Yes.
Mr. Rao?
Yes.
Mr. Bates?
Yes.
And Mrs. Lamarcus?
Yes.
Next up, Matt Chief, Deputy Director, is going to present the 2026 capital improvement projects.
So in your board packet, you kind of have the planned capital improvement projects for 2026. And you can see kind of what is budgeted for those projects. I'll kind of go through this so you can kind of get a sense for what's involved with each project. So these are the projects we have planned for 2026. The different parts we'll be working at, Hamden Hills, Veterans Legacy Woods, Mountain Run Station, Froing Meadows, the Rookery, the Westwoods, and Big Creek Park. So you can see we're kind of working throughout the county at a lot of our different parks. Hamden Hills, this is a former Kittredge property that we acquired a few years ago. When we acquired the property, there was some work that needed to be done through ODNR for the dam. So we were actually working on some of the improvements to the dam this summer with the engineers. We did have, at the primary inlet, while we were working with the engineers, it was discovered that the primary inlet needed a lot more, basically needs to be replaced. So that project involves, this is kind of the current dam. We did have to lower it down. This is the outlet valve. So we took the dam down after we talked with ODNR on some of the issues we found with the primary inlet. The engineers were working with GPD Group. Currently are finalizing drawings. They've been working with ODNR, but we are going to have to install a new primary inlet and valve, and then also regrade some of the dam and redo the emergency area to bring it up to a Category 2 dam with ODNR. We should know in the next couple of weeks. ODNR is reviewing the plans. They may have a few comments, but we're getting it ready to take this out to bid, hopefully after the first of the year. Veterans Legacy Woods, we've done a number of restoration projects out at Veterans Legacy Woods over probably the last 4 years. Our cold water stream habitat and wetland creation projects that are wrapped up this year. We've done some reforesting projects out there. And then this project, we were able to receive some funding to do what we're calling daylighting of streams, but basically with the old golf course, there's a lot of streams that were put through pipes and drainage was put in and kind of graded out. So we're going back in, opening those streams back up and restoring them. There is a little bit of wetland restoration. This project's pretty unique. We're doing all the design outside of the hydraulic engineering and the wetland permitting in-house with our NRM and planning staff. And then construction, we're going to actually utilize our in-house construction crew to do a lot of the construction next summer. I'll show you some pictures, and Paul's here. He can speak a little bit probably more to what we're doing with the streams. These are some of the areas where we're going to be daylighting, so you can kind of see where the old fairways and stuff came through. There's a lot of larger culvert pipes. We're getting a little bit of erosion and head cutting where, they culverted stuff and it's coming out to the open stream channel. So we're gonna go back in and restore those areas. This is kind of our preliminary plan, just showing a little bit of kind of what we're envisioning with those streams being daylighted, create a little bit better connection to the floodplain areas. These are not really large streams, these are more ephemeral and smaller streams, but again, just kind of creating those areas where the natural flow through the site, which helps with sediment reduction going down to the Cuyahoga River. But Paul, go ahead and jump in.
Sure, yeah, I mean, if you haven't been out to this park, you really owe it to yourself to go out and take a look. It has been a really neat transformation over the last few years, and beautiful park. Every time I'm out there, park patrons are always talking about how much they love hiking this park. And I mean, yeah, so we've been working hard on lots of tree reforestation out there. We've been doing some really big stream projects out there that are going well. They've been challenging, but they're going well. And there's also a whole bunch more on the slate here for next year. The Cuyahoga River in this section, this is the West Branch Cuyahoga River, and it is really beautiful, high quality. Really high quality ecological system that we're protecting here and enhancing by opening up kind of the natural flow again for a lot of these streams that has been so confined and basically buried and put away for many years. So we're opening up all these little streams. A lot of them, like Matt was saying, are not going to probably run all year long. They're not going to flow all year, but there are some others that are really high quality that have cold water, kind of groundwater coming in all the time. So that's going to be exciting to kind of see how those perform and work out. But there's also some wetlands we're going to create around some of these little streams. But it's exciting because we're going to be doing a lot of this, most of it, all in-house with our staff. So that's going to be something brand new for us to tackle. So it'd be nice to be part of it.
And the funding source for this project was Ohio Department of Natural Resources H2 Ohio program.
Yeah, that's the
They're
other
very excited about it.
State of Ohio is funding all of our work out there, so that's great.
And going back to kind of Paul's original management plan for this former golf course, if you want to touch on a little bit, but with the reforestation, that we're really looking at kind of creating kind of a uniform habitat with the reforestation, the wetland areas, so really trying to develop kind of and enhance the ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, the basic overall plan is most of the fairways are going to be reforested and turned back into beautiful mature forests. And we were lucky there. I've had a lot of comments too when I take other professionals out there in this field. They're like, boy, you're really lucky because you have beautiful, in between these old fairways, there's beautiful big mature trees that also help with seed, and a lot of natural recruitment of trees has already been going on in the park. And so we have lots of help from Mother Nature, but we're also planting lots, and there's going to be a beautiful forest there pretty quickly.
So that's kind of the work going on at Veterans Legacy Woods plan for next year. Mountain Run Station, so again, with 28 parks throughout the district, each year we're looking at infrastructure in asphalt. Again, with 28 parks and the lifespan of kind of asphalt, we're looking at trying to be proactive in resurfacing our worst parks. This park was built, I think, around 2005. This is the original asphalt. So we're going to go in and we're going to be doing some resurfacing into the park on the entry drive and then all the parking areas. Again, this is something we'll get out to bid here in January, and that'll be going on, next summer with the resurfacing. Throwing Meadows, again, looking at our trails and our trail systems. Probably one of the most popular, highest uses of patrons in our parks is hiking, getting out, just enjoying nature. So we're looking at one of our ADA accessible trails, the Dragonfly Trail, just up around that kind of wetland area at the park. Going in again, this is original to when the park was built back in the early 2000s. So we're going to go in and do some repairs to some of the asphalt areas, and then also do some overlay resurfacing there just to get a nice uniform surface for that trail. The Rookery, the West Operations Facility, so this is, our West Operations is split basically between, they have office space at the Westwoods and then their shop is at the Rookery. So what we're looking at is developing a facility where their kind of office space and the shop is all together in one location, just help improve efficiency. This particular project, we kind of worked internally with our operations staff and our IT staff, looking at really kind of going forward, what our operations is going to look like. This is what we're developing as far as the overall new facility, creating kind of a less of an office area, more of an open gathering area that will have kind of some workstation areas, but then looking at, again, not having a workstation for every operations person, more of like a laptop or a couple laptops where they can do kind of their work when they need to look into things as far as dealing with contracts or looking up materials and ordering stuff, but really giving them kind of a nice shop area where they can work on vehicles, get the vehicles in and out pretty efficiently, and have everything in one location. So this would be the main entry of kind of the Rookery Drive. This is the current kind of pole barn building. We would be coming off that loop and adding in the new structure. We really wanted to look at developing something that kind of fit in with the overall look and feel of our other facilities throughout the Park District. And this is a project then, again, we'd be looking at going out to bid kind of early in 2026. The Westwoods Trail improvements, this is again kind of up around the Nature Center. We have kind of an existing asphalt trail with some boardwalks that were original to the park. We're going back in with our construction crew. We're going to redo the boardwalk areas. And actually in this area, because of the wooded nature in that, we're going to remove the asphalt and go with more of an aggregate trail, which kind of lends itself to the rest of the Westwoods, and really will be a little bit nicer as far as permeability in those wooded areas and that. So this is what we're looking at the Westwoods. And that's just a little bit of a concept of sort of the boardwalk areas. Similar to what we did down at Holbrook Hollows. We talked with the naturalists a little bit, but giving them kind of an outdoor classroom where there's a little bit larger area, the boardwalk kind of out in the wetland area, adding in some seating, so whether they have programs out there, if they're taking a group of kids out there for like a classroom setting, kind of gives them a little bit of a gathering space. And you can see here's kind of the main Westwoods Nature Center and the main parking area there, so it's just a little bit to the west of the Nature Center. And then Big Creek Park, Deep Woods Lodge. So over the last 10 years, and I'll touch on kind of in the last slide, we've gone in and added some new lodges and new parks. We've also went in and renovated some old lodges and replaced some older lodges in the Park District. One thing though that we're looking at is going back to some of our older restrooms. We have a vault style restroom in this area. So we're looking at going back and adding in a restroom with flush toilets and water. So this would be, the current restroom's kind of out by the parking area. We're looking at adding a new restroom in that will be more kind of connected visually with the lodge, but still accessible for people hiking and in the park. But that will have flush toilets and water. We have a water fountain there for filling bottles if you're hiking out in the parks. And really the thought here was to develop something design-wise that kind of fits with the style of the existing shelter. So that would be something we would be adding next spring too. And then this last slide is just a little bit about kind of shelters over the last 10 years, whether it was through new park development, Holbrook Hollows and Franklin Marsh, where we added 2 new facilities, Clarendon Woodlands, which was a new lodge, and then Headwaters Park, Swine Creek, and Deep Woods, where we went into existing parks and replaced shelters. You can see kind of that was from a presentation that Jessica did earlier in the year for the board, but you can see use of our shelters is dramatically increased over the last 10 years. So just to kind of show some of these areas where we're investing in capital projects that's really allowing people to get out and enjoy the parks. Any questions on the projects for the ice cream?
Thank you, Matt. Moving to Commissioners' time. A few updates. We kicked off our 2026 facility and campsite reservations. Jogga County residents received early access on Wednesday, October 1st, beginning at 8 a.m. sharp. In the first hour alone, our reservation system handled 267 receipts. There were 70 in the first 5 minutes, 58 more by 8:10, and 45 more by 8:15. By 9 a.m., 90% of Clarion Woodlands weekend reservations in 2026 had been claimed. The next 2 hours amassed another 73 receipts. By noon, we had 355 total receipts completed by Jogga County residents in just 4 hours. By the end of the day, website and analytics showed 14,136 page views by 916 active users. And out-of-county reservations will open up next on Monday, November 3rd at 10 a.m.
Keep in mind those receipts, that's not one building. Each receipt can have up to 3 facilities on it or 3 campsites. So a lot of people, when they were booking, it was, I want Clarendon on this day, I want Deep Woods Lodge on this day, and I'm going to do camping. So,
A lot of activity on October 1st, so, and thank you so much to our Jogga County resident taxpayers for supporting these opportunities in Jogga Park District, and we look forward to helping many of you celebrate your special moments and make special memories in your parks next year. Thank you to our residents. All right, a few other things going on. On October 4th, another beautiful day in Jogga Park District set the stage for our 4th annual space race at Observatory Park, with 275 racers of all ages and abilities registered to complete as many 0.85-mile planetary trail laps as they wished in 2 hours